On this Sunday night, an all-too-familiar debate in the aftermath of yet another school shooting. This time, 10 people losing their lives in Texas, a state where guns are a way of life. But after Parkland and Sandy Hook and Columbine, will anything really be done to control them? Also tonight, the Jets are out, putting Canada's hopes for a Stanley Cup on ice for another year. And the day after the big day. In many ways, their royal wedding bucked tradition. So what's next for the new Duke and Duchess? This is The National. Well, among the sad rituals following a school shooting in the United States, learning more about the young people who were killed. A popular football player, an exchange student from Pakistan, and an avid gamer excited to celebrate his birthday this weekend. They were all just 17 and all among the 10 people killed by a classmate. But now, for many, the question is what, if anything, changes? Just over 3 months after the mass murder in Parkland, Florida, what will it take to stop this from happening over and over? As Paul Hunter tells us, that is again being debated across the United States tonight.
Allahu Akbar. At the River Oaks Islamic Center in Houston, a prayer service today for Sabika Sheikh, the exchange student from Pakistan, killed along with 9 others in Friday's shooting.
And we both became very close.
And though the service brought tears, it also emphasized what was on the minds of many.
We have to get past our fixation with guns and our obsession with guns.
Friday's rampage at the Santa Fe High School has reignited a familiar back and forth in this country. The push for action on guns and push back from many of those who can actually influence change. One response to school shootings from the Lieutenant Governor of Texas.
We need our teachers to be armed. When you're facing someone who's an active shooter, the best way to take that shooter down is with a gun. But even better than that is 4 or 5 guns to 1.
He blamed school shootings on violent video games, moral decay, evil in the world, and schools with too many doors. Added the NRA today, the problem with school shooters isn't access to guns, it's society and drugs.
They've come through a culture where violence is commonplace. All we need to do is turn on a TV, go to a movie. If you look at what has happened to the young people, many of these young boys have been on Ritalin since they were in kindergarten.
How come the gun manufacturers' lobby is getting so strong that we cannot keep our children safe in our own classrooms?
Back at that prayer service, frustration that lawmakers have failed to act, and a challenge to those now grieving.
You must solve your problems yourself. Take the lead from those students in Florida. They stood up and they said no more.
And it's worth noting, Houston's chief of police is on side with toughening gun laws this weekend. He cited inaction by politicians on that, adding, if that doesn't change, there will be a next time, Ian.
We know, Paul, this is complicated politically, but in this case, it's complicated factually as well, because so often talk of gun control is focused on assault-style weapons, but that's not what was used this time.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, the pro-gun side will often point out that assault-style guns like the AR-15 actually account for relatively few gun deaths each year in this country overall, certainly compared with handguns. So they say, why bother restricting AR-15s? But at the same time, no one talks about restricting handguns, mostly because everybody knows there'd be way more pushback on something like that. So, baby steps. And that's why a lot of the gun control talk this weekend was other stuff around the edges. For example, toughening the laws on gun storage at home, since it seems the shooter in this case took them from his dad. Bottom line, say gun control advocates, just do something to make it harder for people who want to do bad things to get their hands on a gun. But as the U.S. has found time and again, Ian, easy to say.
Okay, Paul Hunter in Washington, thank you. We are slowly getting a clearer picture of the accused gunman tonight. 17-year-old Dimitrios Pagortsis is being described as a good student who kept to himself. He also played on the football team. Police still don't know the motive for this shooting, but one grieving mother thinks that her daughter was intentionally targeted. Sadie Rodriguez says her daughter Shayna had rejected months of romantic advances from the gunman.
She finally stood up to him because her younger sister was being bullied in school, and she was showing her, look, this is what you do. You got to stand up to him and tell him, no, it's not right.
Shayna Fisher had just celebrated her 16th birthday. Let's take a look at what else we're working on tonight. She says her vacation came to a violent end, and now she's going public, saying the resort should have done more to help her. And in Winnipeg tonight, elimination and devastation for Jets fans. But while the playoff run ends for Canada's team, Vegas continues to beat the odds. But first, the inferno that devoured a downtown core. Firefighters were still on the scene today of a multi-building fire that has devastated downtown Brandon, Manitoba. More than 150 people were forced to flee their burning apartment building. Austin Grabish spoke with some of the residents today to find out more about what happened yesterday and how they're coping.
The flames are out, but hot spots remain. This sprinkler on around the clock to make sure nothing else burns. A chimney is the only thing left standing from this Brandon landmark. The Christie's office building behind me was a historic part of this small city's downtown. Officials believe the fire started there, and then embers jumped onto this apartment building before then jumping even further onto a vacant nightclub and beer store. This family fled their apartment as it burned yesterday. Not that long ago, they fled a war zone to get to Canada.
We've been through lots coming from Syria and what we have to evacuate there, and now to go through the same thing evacuating here, it's been really tough on us, but we thank God that there isn't anybody get hurt or nobody gets hurt.
They have no insurance like many of the families living in this apartment building run by community agencies. 93 adults and 57 kids were left homeless and are now registered with the Red Cross as evacuees. Justin Verinder is one of them. The father of two couldn't believe what he was seeing.
I didn't want my kids to see that, but all of a sudden there's like a huge explosion in the sky, and there's firefighters, and like a Manitoba Hydro guy was like speeding down the street, and you could tell something was wrong.
Stories like his have touched so many in Brandon. Within hours of putting out a call for clothing donations, volunteers couldn't take it anymore.
It's been amazing, but at the same time, this is Brandon, and I sort of suspected this is exactly what would happen, is people would just respond.
Fire crews had to be called in from several neighboring Manitoba communities.
We do have a lot of very tired firefighters.
Evacuees are staying in a hotel for now, and finding new homes won't be easy. The vacancy rate here is low, and the mayor admits that will be a challenge. Austin Grabish, CBC News, Brandon.
And residents in the city didn't only lose homes and businesses in those buildings, they lost some history too. The building where the fire started was home to Christie's since 1943, and the office supply retailer was one of Brandon's first businesses, founded in 1881, a year before the city was incorporated. As for Massey Manor, it was built in 1913 as an industrial warehouse, once used as military barracks during the First World War, and in the past decade converted into residential apartments. A Canadian woman has a warning tonight for travelers headed to resort destinations. She says her vacation ended in a rape when a security guard working at her resort attacked her. Now she and other women are speaking out, saying some resorts don't take reports of sexual assault seriously. Erica Johnson has our Go Public investigation.
My guard was completely down, and so I landed against the wall, and he had me pinned against the wall.
Christine Damon was vacationing with her family in March at this resort in the Dominican. On her last night, she was walking back to her room and says a security guard raped her, then ran off. She filed a report with the hotel, but says staff didn't take it seriously.
They did not offer me police. They did not offer me medical. They did not offer me looking at his picture. I could have identified him. The only thing they offered me was late checkout. That is it.
Once home, Damon posted a warning about the hotel on TripAdvisor.
I have to speak out because it's a matter of public safety. There's someone employed there that is a predator and is under the guise of a security guard.
Go Public has found other women posting social media warnings of sexual assault by resort employees in various countries, many saying hotel staff did not contact police. Medical authorities told one woman she should just go relax on the beach. This lawyer, who specialized in sexual assault cases for 3 decades, says international resort chains need protocols in place to ensure police get involved if that's what the guest wants.
If a report is not made to the police in that jurisdiction, the police here can't do anything other than take a report and send it there. A person cannot be charged in a jurisdiction other than the jurisdiction where the assault occurred.
The resort where Christine Damon stayed declined an interview request. In a statement, the chain said it takes any allegations of misconduct very seriously. It will conduct additional background checks when hiring, and that in future, staff will proactively contact law enforcement.
And Erica's here in our Vancouver newsroom. A disturbing story, of course, Erica. And there's no telling how often this happens.
There really isn't, Ian, because as you know, so often when people are sexually assaulted, they don't report it. But experts we've spoken to in this field say we may be hearing more about this now, people taking to social media because of the Me Too movement. Women want to warn other female travelers, but they're also hoping the hotel industry will change.
And on this, there's an interesting program underway here in Canada.
Yeah, there sure is. The Ontario Hotel Association has just launched a program called It's Your Shift. It's an online training program available to all employees in the hospitality and tourism industry. And basically, in part, it's designed to help employees identify when hotel guests might be at risk of sexual violence and then to teach them how to intervene. A spokesperson we talked to said the hotel industry needs to recognize that it's not immune, that sexual assaults can happen with hotel guests and employees, and it wants to be a leader, not just in education, but more importantly, in prevention.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
Our Go Public stories come from you and tips that you send in. So if you have a story that you'd like our team to look into, send an email to gopublic@cbc.ca. The day after her wedding, the new Duchess of Sussex has followed a tradition of royal brides. Her bouquet was laid on the grave of the unknown warrior at Westminster Abbey. So as Prince Harry and Meghan begin life as newlyweds, Britain has already begun what it does so well: tidy up and carry on. Thomas Dagla has the details.
Even the most regal occasion leaves behind its own trail through the streets. But with a little cleanup overnight, today royal fans were lining up to see up close what they'd seen on screen.
So I'm excited to see inside the castle. Yesterday I came to watch the procession and it was beautiful.
We're queuing for half an hour, so it must be worth it.
To guarantee the story printed today would be that of a picture-perfect wedding, it took months of planning. Just take that Givenchy dress, the product of 5 months of work in secret in Paris. Claire Waite-Keller designed it. There she is, even arranging the 5-meter veil on wedding day.
And I said, wouldn't it be amazing if we took the 53 countries of the Commonwealth and embroidered a flower and some flora and fauna from each one of those?
In those designs, somewhere, a little piece of Canada, the bunchberry, the unofficial national flower, one of the many contributions to a ceremony that broke the mold. From the soulful sound to that stirring sermon.
There's power in love.
The bishop may have missed the perplexed looks on some royals. He says he was focused on the bride and groom.
We got to get you all married.
Long after I've flown back to the U.S., they're going to have an impact through their lives and their life together that's going to make a difference in this world.
The Queen was seen today as she headed to church. The only other family members spotted were William and Kate, with sunglasses hiding any indication of last night's party. In the gardens here at Buckingham Palace on Tuesday, the newlyweds will celebrate Prince Charles's upcoming 70th birthday. It's just one of the countless occasions where they'll pose for pictures and shake hands as the new Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, London.
So we know their first official public appearance will be on Tuesday, but what else is in the cards for the newlyweds? It's expected there'll be a honeymoon, but we don't know where. Speculation is they may choose Botswana, the location of an early getaway, and where Harry says they fell in love. Meanwhile, they'll continue to live in Nottingham Cottage. It's steps away from Kensington Palace, and where they'll eventually move into a large apartment. As for their first royal tour overseas, it's likely to be Sydney, Australia, host of the Invictus Games this October. A lot of people tuned in yesterday for the big day. We have the numbers for the U.S. audience, 17.6 million viewers, and that was just on the 3 main networks. In the UK, 18 million were watching. And while it will likely be Britain's biggest TV audience of the year, still smaller than the viewership for William and Kate's wedding. Ahead tonight on The National, disappointment in Winnipeg. The Jets are out of the playoffs. And a little later, a national dispatch from Los Angeles, why sex workers there say a new law meant to protect them is actually putting them in more danger. But first, award-winning actor, comedian, and activist Stephen Fry sits down with The National to talk about the monarchy, Trump, and the case against political correctness.
The wrong way to do it is to alienate those who are a little bit on the edge and aren't quite sure. By telling them they're speaking wrong, they're using the wrong language, they can't talk like that, you mustn't, you can't. Damn you, I will talk how I want to talk. Don't tell me how to talk, don't censor me.
Just mud, look at that.
On The National tonight, some of the flood-weary residents of Grand Forks, BC are back home and they're cleaning up. Officials lifted 175 evacuation orders today in the region, 2 weeks after the devastating flooding began. Damage assessment crews are working their way through the flood zone, identifying which houses and buildings can be salvaged. In Hawaii, officials are worried that lava flowing from the Kilauea volcano could block the only escape route. And as that lava reaches the Pacific Ocean, there's another danger to worry about: laze, a gassy combination of lava and haze. When it hits seawater, it releases giant plumes of hydrochloric acid, steam, and volcanic glass particles. Breathing it can be not just painful, but even deadly. Donald Trump continues to ramp up his war of words over the Russia probe. In a tweet, the U.S. president said that he'll demand the Justice Department investigate whether the FBI infiltrated his 2016 campaign. Trump maintains the Russia allegations are politically motivated and had their roots in the Obama administration. Intense negotiations are still on between Alberta, BC, and the federal government over the Trans Mountain pipeline expansion. And the protests continue, too, on both sides of the border. Today in Washington state, some Americans took their protest to the water. The CBC's Briar Stewart takes us there.
Just off the coast of Seattle, dozens of American paddlers are preparing to protest an increasingly contentious Canadian project.
We're taken to the water, and we have a rally going on land to protest Kinder Morgan's building of a new pipeline, taking tar sands product out to the coast.
The paddlers are heading toward Kinder Morgan's marine terminal. The company and its Trans Mountain expansion pipeline is frequently the target of environmental groups on both sides of the border. If it's built, the pipeline would end about 200 kilometers north of here. So for activists in Washington state, their main concern isn't so much the line itself, but all the increased oil traffic the project could bring. They're concerned about what impact a spill could have on the environment, but they're also rallying around a much bigger issue than the 1,200-kilometer line.
It's about Kinder Morgan, and it's about the larger issue and how it connects to climate change.
Kinder Morgan's got to go! For many, this single project has come to represent the entire fight over the oil industry and its role in global warming. And because of that, this author says the conversation around the project itself has become convoluted.
The alleged importance of this particular pipeline, I think, has become a little bit exaggerated. In particular, on the climate front, it really is not, a make or break point necessarily for Canada's action on climate change.
But those here see it much differently and are quick to call out the Canadian government for approving the project.
Trudeau has promised a number of things to both Canada and the world and calls himself a climate hero. And if he's a climate hero, he doesn't build a pipeline like this.
Because when it comes to the Kinder Morgan project, the debate has proved much larger and has extended much further than the pipeline's route. Ryder Stewart, CBC News, Seattle.
The Kinder Morgan pipeline will also be the focus of our national documentary tomorrow night. We wanted to know how people who live along the expansion route really feel. So we sent our Nick Purdon to talk to them. He drove from Edmonton to Vancouver to take the temperature and find out what's at stake for the people and their communities. Here's a preview.
What would the pipeline mean for your town?
Jobs, jobs, and more jobs. I know they're thinking of bringing in a 500-man camp. They came and they did a big open house, Kinder Morgan did, told us all how to apply for good-paying jobs.
Patty tells me how her town has fallen on hard times since the logging dried up. She's not worried about environmental risks. She's worried about Blue River.
I love this place. It's jewel of the Yellowhead Highway, Blue River. It doesn't get any better. This whole valley needs it. We really need it bad. The jobs and just the people and everything. We need the pipeline to go through in order to survive.
And you can see Nick's entire documentary tomorrow night on The National. Up next tonight on the program, The World According to Stephen Fry. The British comedian gives us his views on political correctness, the advantages of having a monarchy, and of course, Donald Trump.
Every single restaurant table, every single bar room, every single coffee shop conversation, you could just hear the word Trump. And I said, he's the Trumpalo. He's like a Dr. Seuss character. The more you say his name, the bigger he gets. I think it's time for this toxic, binary, zero-sum madness to stop before we destroy ourselves.
That was British comedian Stephen Fry in Toronto on Friday night, speaking against political correctness in the high-profile Monk debate, alongside Canada's polarizing professor, Jordan Peterson. Some people may be surprised that a self-described liberal like Fry would take that position, but he has his reasons, and he gave them to our Susan Ormiston in a conversation that covered a lot of ground: Donald Trump, the monarchy, and why he's been working in Canada. Take a look.
Stephen Fry, comedian.
Your teas, eh?
Actor.
No, no, by all things godly, no!
Author.
You will tell me what it was, or I will kill you.
TV host. Podcaster.
We are working together.
Advocate. Playwright. All of that and more. From Blackadder.
You think she'll laugh in my face? I'm too old, too crusty?
To host of QI. From West End to Broadway plays to documentaries, Stephen Fry has carved out a unique place in British culture and increasingly in America.
Is this where the party is happening?
Proper studio, isn't it? Thank you.
But for the next 2 months, he's taken up residence here in Canada, at Niagara-on-the-Lake, at the Shaw Festival. He's taken his latest book and turned it into a trilogy of one-man shows exploring Greek mythology. He visited us recently in Toronto to expound on the world according to Stephen Fry. So, Greek mythology, from your book Mythos. You're doing a world premiere here in Canada at the Shaw. What are you hoping to draw out of the Greek myths and put on stage?
Well, first and foremost, story. I mean, they are the most wonderful stories that I've ever heard, and they are primal in their absolute, their juice, their excitement, the fact that they're about people. And they answer questions about why and how we are, but always with the use of a story, which I think is, they don't lecture you. They're not moral tales. They don't say, and this teaches you this, although you can draw a moral from it if you want.
Stephen Fry.
Fry doesn't preach from a moral high ground. He has a healthy disdain for oughts and shoulds and political correctness.
I don't care what you call me. It's how we're treated that matters.
At the Monk debates in Toronto, he argued passionately with U of T professor Jordan Peterson that PC culture has gone too far.
Political correctness. Resist. Fight. If you have a point of view, fight it in the proper manner, using democracy as it should be, not channels of education, not language.
So what is it about PC that you don't like?
Sanctimoniousness, self-righteousness, preachiness, holier-than-thou-ness, piety. These are all things I've always hated. When I was growing up, you could argue that political correctness was not offending someone's religion by making a joke about it, or not saying a particular word on television because it was considered rude. And now it's a different set of things that is assumed to be politically correct, but it's the same idea going all the way back to what is heresy and what isn't. And I like to think that I'm an ornery sort of person, a contrarian, if you like, and that if I'd been brave enough in the 15th, 16th century in Spain, I would have been a heretic. Just because
Probably
I wouldn't.
beheaded.
And yes, of course, the price of heresy was much higher than it is now. The price of heresy now is to be deplatformed or to suffer a Twitter storm or something. But my objection is simply that if you want to advance the causes that I would like to advance in terms of inclusion and diversity and equality for everyone in the nice, fluffy, gorgeous, liberal way that I think about these things, the wrong way to do it is to alienate those who are a little bit on the edge and aren't quite sure. By telling them they're speaking wrong, they're using the wrong language, they can't talk like that, you mustn't, you can't. Damn you, I will talk how I want to talk. Don't tell me how to talk. Don't censor me. Don't be a,
But you can be questioned. You're not saying
of course,
no debate.
That's why I'm on the same side in the debate with someone with whom I probably share very little political...
I wanted to ask about that. Jordan Peterson, very controversial in this country, and you're on his side. In what way do you align with his views?
I don't align, as far as I know, with his views. I'm simply approaching the debate according to its proposition. And the proposition is that the other side, as you might say, are saying political correctness is just a phrase meaning progress. And I don't think that's right.
And what do you think about the price for some of those, perhaps to some, heretical comments? Twitter storm is real for lots of people, and you've been always an early adapter of technology. You love the iPhone. You said you'd never met a smartphone you didn't fall in love with.
Right.
But there's a big price these days.
Yeah.
What do you think of this whole community of social media and what it does to the fabric of our society and what it does to our capacity to think?
It's a really good series of questions, though, that takes a bit of unpacking. And one of the ways I'd approach it, funny enough, is to come back to Greek myth. When social media began, and I rushed on board very excited, I thought, it's all gifted. This is the all-gifted world in which connection, information, education, art, this is going to melt down barriers between people. There'll be no more tribalism, none of this sort of racist
Truly
nativism.
An open, free society.
And in the Greek myth, the gods punish man by sending an all-gifted woman. And the Greek for all-gifted is Pandora. And she came down with this jar she was told not to open. But she couldn't resist it, and she opened the jar, and out flew illness, manslaughter, murder, disease, want, hardship. And from having it been a paradise, it seemed to become impossible. But that's the world we live in, a world full of ghastly problems. And the same happened with the internet. From having thought this is going to solve all our problems, everyone can communicate with each other, there'll be no misunderstandings, everything will be wonderful. Suddenly one became aware that it was a Pandora's box that had opened, and out flew trollers and all kinds of nasty and terrible grooming and all the horrors that have come out of it. And one then thinks, maybe it's just all worse now. Maybe it's terrible. I think it's settling down. I don't think people are thinking less or have less cognitive skills or less ability to relate than they did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I don't think that changes at all.
But you've said it's settling down. It's settling down in America with the first real Twitter president who uses that as his personal tool. You've talked a lot about Trump. How do you see America today?
Well, it's terribly unfortunate, but I do believe in the wheel of fortune. I think things turn. It wasn't that long ago when it was Bill Clinton in America and Tony Blair in Britain. And they were at the top of the wheel of fortune, the rota fortunae, as the Romans called it. And now they're right at the bottom. And in 10 years' time, it would be all. I mean, it sounds as if I'm not caring about the misery and the absurdity, the vulgarity, the gangster criminality and corruption of the Trump regime. And all of that is unquestionable. We all know it's true. And people who don't are just being blind and foolish. But it's also true that he is achieving what he set out to achieve and that the American economy is probably going to prosper enough for him to win the next election, whether we like to hear it or not.
Isn't it your view that you think that the media, for example, and many others are giving him exactly what he needs to feed it?
Of course they are. I remember saying to someone, do you know, they used to say of Hitler that he was the most photographed man in history. And I would say Trump is the most talked about man in history. Every single restaurant table, every single bar room, every single coffee shop conversation, you could just hear the word Trump, 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 Trump. And I said, he's the Trumpolo. He's like a Dr. Seuss character. The more you say his name, the bigger he gets. All you have to do to defeat him is never mention his name. Just don't talk about it. Of course, because he makes money, because he's clickbait, because you see Trump says and you immediately press the click because you want to know what Trump said. And that's our fault, not his. And particularly the fault of, if I count myself as vaguely leftish, which I do, I don't see the rise of Trump or the rise of Brexit in Britain, I don't see them as a triumph as the right. I see them as a failure of the left. And that's one of the reasons I think political correctness has some part to play in that.
Fry is fiercely British. He admires the British monarchy and he's close to the royal family. He considers Prince Charles a friend, and it's reciprocated.
I think that probably, Stephen, I may be entirely wrong, is really a writer who was added in a rather like a Renaissance man.
The marriage of Meghan and Harry, he says, reinforces the key to success of the monarchs.
One of the remarkable things about the British royal family is its adaptability, its ability to survive. And although it's preposterous, it works terribly well. Now, if you imagine that Trump every week had to go up Capitol Hill to a sort of white colonial building in which Uncle Sam lived, who was the embodiment of America, and Trump had to bow to him. So Trump wasn't the most important person in America. This embodiment, Uncle Sam, meant more than he did. It would just show him that he was the servant of his country. And that's what a British Prime Minister has to do. Every week they have to go to the Queen, and it just keeps the politicians in place because they've got this image, this personification of the entire country and its history, a living flag, if you like, who goes around in a coach. And it's kind of preposterous.
Kind of.
Yeah,
Many would say it's completely old school and
it
should be abandoned.
Well, there you are. That's like political correctness. Should. There are no shoulds. I think if it works, it's very foolish to get rid of it, even if it's unreasonable.
Stephen, it's no wonder Prince Charles thinks that you're a national treasure.
Well, I know, I'm fully aware of how preposterous this is, and you're quite right, it is. But it works. It works for us. It adds to the gaiety of nations.
And does Meghan bring an interesting dimension?
Yes,
I mean, this is theatre.
That's
this
your
is a
question,
new piece
and
of theatre,
yeah.
and
but
somebody's going to pick up on
It's
that.
also a reflection on changes. You know, it's not just like, oh, I suppose we better allow it. It's kind of, everyone is thrilled for an injection of new blood, just in the sense of a new attitude, a new generational, a new way of looking at things. And I think that is what I meant about the adaptability of the royal family. They just somehow always seem to catch, and it's nearly always the women. I mean, our best monarchs have been Queen Elizabeth I and Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth II by far. It's clearly, maybe we should only have a queen rather than a king. I don't know. I shouldn't say that about my dear friend.
Your dear friend Charles.
No, quite. No, he'll be wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a real pleasure.
Enjoyed
to
it.
meet you.
Thank you.
Ahead on The National, a new law in the United States is meant to shut down internet sex traffickers. Republicans and Democrats say it will save lives, but sex workers say it will actually put them in greater danger than ever.
You know, you don't know who you're going to get in the car with. There's no way to report violent people in that way.
If somebody throws you in a room with a bunch of guys and you end up, you know, getting gang raped, you have the feeling that death is imminent.
Canadian hockey fans dreaming of the Stanley Cup being raised north of the 49th parallel will have to wait another year. The Winnipeg Jets have been grounded. Now, as much as today's elimination stings, it was a great run for the team and for the city. I know it may not feel that way for Jets fans right now, but as Aaron Broman tells us, it was a stellar season.
Excitement excitement was high inside the Winnipeg Whiteout today as Jets fans geared up for a do-or-die battle with the Vegas Golden Knights.
Feeling really excited. You know, I really hope that they win this game and extend it. But win or lose, we're still proud of them. Yes.
A record number showed up again, as they have so many times before, hoping their sheer energy would help push the boys to victory.
I loved every minute of it. You know, there's nothing better than walking into, you know, the street party and getting goosebumps, or even getting on the bus and getting goosebumps, and then you get in, you know, in the arena and you got goosebumps for, you know, 2.5 hours.
But as the game wore on, the excitement turned to tension, even fear. The Golden Knights drew first blood in the first period. The Jets tied it up, but Vegas went ahead again in the second period, without answer from Winnipeg. And then it was over. Fans were crushed.
It's a dagger in the heart, but there's a lot of promise. I still feel that the better team didn't win this series. The Jets are a better team, top and bottom.
I'm like happy that they got this far, but I'm also like really disappointed that they couldn't win the Stanley Cup.
But for Jets players, it wasn't a loss. It was the devastating end of a Cinderella season.
You got the heart and the character, and those are two things you can't teach. You either have it or you don't, and I think this team has it.
But despite the pain, Winnipeg can hold its head high. The Jets have helped revitalize their city ever since the triumphant return to the league in 2011. But this season was a true Cinderella run. They smashed through the Minnesota Wild. They tamed the Nashville Predators. And even though the Vegas Golden Knights proved too much, Winnipeg fans are already looking ahead to next year.
We're going to lick our wounds. We're going to come back stronger next year, more powerful, and you know, it's optimism, something this city has been yearning for 30 years.
While fans from the rest of the country offer thanks and a salute for a valiant effort that won't be forgotten. Aaron Broman, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, you can decide whether the best team won, but one thing is clear. The team that beat the Jets is having an unbelievable playoff run of their own. The Las Vegas Golden Knights will play for the Stanley Cup in their very first season. When you think of the great teams that didn't make it this far, you can see that Vegas has already done the incredible. Serious talk of Vegas getting a franchise only started about 3 years ago. The deal signed in 2016. The Golden Knights lacing up for the first time in September. And they have been setting expansion team records ever since. Most wins, most points. First expansion team to make the playoffs since the Edmonton Oilers and the Hartford Whalers in 1980, and those were already established teams, those two. They were the first expansion team to go all the way to the finals since the St. Louis Blues in 1968, but you may remember the Blues only beat other expansion teams to get to the final. One last note we'd like to point out, the Golden Knights roster overwhelmingly Canadian. Now, as many of you know all too well, it's been 2.5 decades since any Canadian team raised the Stanley Cup. That's when the Habs brought it home in 1993. It's fitting, perhaps, the last Canadian team to hoist the cup is also the team that has won it more than any others. But back in '93, some fans spoiled the celebration by rioting. The last Canadian team to even appear in the finals, well, that was the Vancouver Canucks in 2011. They lost to the Boston Bruins after a hard-fought 7 games. And for the second time in 17 years, a Canucks loss in the final led to a night of destructive riots. Just over a month ago, U.S. President Donald Trump signed off on new legislation aimed at shutting down internet sex trafficking and protecting those most exploited by the underbelly of the sex trade. It was passed with overwhelming support from Republicans and Democrats, but that rare moment of cooperation has serious implications for sex workers themselves, with many saying that will put them in even greater danger by driving them right back to the perils of the street. Here's Kim Brunhuber with our dispatch from Los Angeles.
It was, she says, as though she'd arrived at work one day to find her office had burned down.
So imagine if you just lost your whole source of income like that, you know?
Laura Lamoon is a sex worker. When she started as an 18-year-old, she found clients by walking the streets at night. It was, she says, as dangerous as it sounds.
If somebody throws you in a room with a bunch of guys and you end up, you know, getting gang raped, you have the feeling that death is imminent.
Then, over the last decade, the industry moved from the street to the smartphone.
I found it to be extremely empowering to be able to go from being pimped to being like my own escort online, advertising on Backpage, being able to screen clients. I never had one instance of violence.
Until a new bill changed everything.
Everybody I know right now is just in complete crisis.
This seems like the only thing both Democrats and Republicans can agree on these days.
We are all together, politicians, both Republican and Democrat, signing this.
In April, President Trump signed 2 bills with the aim of targeting sex trafficking online. The laws made websites criminally liable for the sex work resulting from advertisements on their sites. Many sites like Backpage, the most popular escort advertising site, was shut down.
Because of the hundreds of thousands of children who are trafficked, 70% of them are online. And because of what you're doing today, that's already shut down. 87% of that is already shut down. You are saving lives.
Lamoon knows all too well what it means to be trafficked. She says she was forced into sex work as a teen, before internet trafficking even existed. She believes the law that's meant to make the world safer is actually making hers much more dangerous.
I had like at least 100 people texting or calling me on a daily basis just based on my Backpage ad alone. And that gave me the security to be able to say, like, okay, I'm not desperate. I'm not in desperate need of finding clients, so I don't have to do dangerous things like, you know, have condomless sex for more money or take on a client who's more dangerous.
Now, she says, many sex workers are being forced back onto the streets and back into the hands of pimps.
I've actually gotten contacted by a pimp as well with promises of clients.
Many sex workers acknowledge they have few political friends in this battle, so they're pinning their hopes on unlikely allies.
The tech companies and then also people like the ACLU and people who are in favor of like free speech and the First Amendment and not having the government, you know, monitor people and stuff. They're definitely our allies.
The new laws have had another unintended consequence. According to Toronto sex worker Anna Sani, not all sites have shuttered. Some servers are owned and operated in countries outside of the U.S., like Canada.
I am noticing that there are more clients coming from the U.S.
But, Sani says, that extra business has been more than offset by the closure of the big U.S. sites, where she says many Canadian sex workers got the majority of their clients.
We have seen an uptick of suicides, people who are already struggling to survive. They literally have like no means.
Luckily, I've grown up in the age of the web, so I have never engaged in the street trade.
In Los Angeles, Danny Cruz is among a younger generation of sex workers who are wondering, what now? The world of newspaper personals and of street walking is entirely foreign and terrifying. Those websites offered some security, online bad date lists, where sex workers shared information about whom to avoid. Many of those are now gone too.
You know, you don't know who you're going to get in the car with. There's no way to report violent people in that way. There's no screening practices at all. It's just luck of the draw.
If prostitution is the world's oldest profession, Cruz says, trying to shut it down is law enforcement's oldest pursuit. So he says, all he can do now is what sex workers have always done, change and adapt.
It's going to move somewhere. If it goes from the smartphone back to the street, that's where it's going to go.
And he fears not all areas of the street are as well lit as others. Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, Los Angeles.
It wasn't that long ago that Canadian sex workers warned that new legislation meant to keep them safe would in fact do the opposite. The previous Conservative government passed Bill C-36 in 2014. It changed the rules around advertising sex, which advocates call contradictory. It does allow sex workers to promote their own services, but it makes it a crime for publications, including websites, to do so. And sex workers say that that limits their ability to screen clients. Overturning Bill C-36 was a Liberal priority during the 2015 campaign, but it's still on the books. You know, you can go deeper on the stories of the day earlier in the day by subscribing to our newsletter, cbcnews.ca/The National. The National today takes you inside our journalism each afternoon. Here are some of the stories we'll be following this week on The National. WestJet facing a looming strike by pilots. They remain in talks with the company and have promised they'll keep working over this long weekend. The South Korean President Moon Jae-in will be in Washington on Tuesday to meet with U.S. President Trump. They'll be discussing how the summit with North Korea can stay on track. Pyongyang has threatened to pull out of next month's historic meeting between Kim Jong-un and Trump. And in Ireland, they're gearing up for Friday's historic referendum on abortion. It will be the first opportunity in 35 years to overhaul the law, considered one of the world's most restrictive. Voters are being asked if they wish to repeal a constitutional amendment allowing for a near total ban on abortion. Before we go tonight, a surprising turn for a group of Alberta men out enjoying the long weekend. They were boating along an Alberta river not far from Grand Prairie when they suddenly found themselves on a rescue mission, coming to the aid of a moose calf. And their story is our moment of the day.
You all right, kiddo?
We were starting to unload our chairs, and when my cousin Ryan could hear some mewing, and then we could tell that it was just a calf moose, and it was like almost completely submerged in the mud. I picked it up basically and drug it closer to the water out of the mud, and then we started washing its head and its eyes and nose off. The moose was fully mewing like constantly and walking around, following us around basically, but it had a lot more energy. I don't think anybody else would do anything different if they found a baby moose stuck in the mud. Everyone would dig it out and clean it up and send it on its way, I think.
I wish my co-hosts were here to talk about that. That is The National for May 20th. Good night.